I want you to share with everybody, how did you start Sixero?
So Sixero was a tech startup that a college classmate came to me about. And in the past, I'm sort of a senior statesperson in technology. I started an early stage web company. I run a technology consulting company. And when people have approached me about co-founding startups over the years, my answer has been no.
So is Sixero intended for the end user like me? My banking password, mine. Is it intended for me? Is it a B2B product?
It's a B2B product initially. I do anticipate, sometimes when you're starting something or founding something, you can't always anticipate exactly how it then unfolds in the market. But our current customers B2B. And just to like bring it that what I just talked about was really highfalutin, right? Just to bring it down to the brass tack. We are talking about something that our initial product, which is called Portal 6. By the way, just to unpack the name for a second, take a detour. 6 stands for Secure Information Exchange. So there's going to be a need to exchange information in a secure way when all of the security things that we currently have in place start to break asymmetrically. So what our product looks like is like Dropbox. Like I take a file here and I put a file there. Portal 6, our initial product, is just that.
Right. So I was going to say small businesses that hold, critical data, maybe some of them don't hold critical data, but they hold data. Small companies can still engage with your product today, right?
Absolutely.
And that will affect the end user like me.
We are spending $1 trillion a year on cybersecurity, and it just doesn't work. I mean, and it doesn't work so badly that when you talk to people about it, they're like, I don't know, my data's out there. What are you going to do? I mean, that's what people are saying. And, it's a problem because privacy is like a human right. There is a solution. We can do better with data privacy. It goes to, there's other tools and concepts involved, like decentralization and advanced key exchange, which our product also includes.
There's another level of that applies to the community that you and I work in, which are CPAs and attorneys and insurance and regional banks, and a variety of other professional service providers. Think about cybersecurity insurance.
Yes. So I'm going to take a teeny bit of a detour and then come right back to that, because this is a cost-saving measure for insurance companies and for the insured.
Anna, it is so great to have you here and have this conversation. And I'm really looking forward to hearing some of your updates, because it's been a while since we've spoken. But first, I want you to share with everybody, how did you start Sixero?
So Sixero was a tech startup that a college classmate came to me about. And in the past, I was sort of a senior statesperson in technology. I started an early stage web company. I run a technology consulting company. And when people have approached me about co-founding startups over the years, my answer has been no. We found it? No. How about you help us? No. So because, everyone always hears the fairy tales about Silicon Valley. And if you've been in tech for a long time, you know that for every one unicorn and fairy tale and, Facebook, there's 100 other companies that have to wind down. So my position has always been, I have a great company. I'm a technologist. I do tech consulting. And, but when my college classmate, Adam Firestone, came to me and said, to be perfectly honest, he said, will you help me co-found a startup? I was like, no. And then he said, seriously, can I talk to you for an hour? And I said, absolutely. And then when he outlined the idea, I was like, okay, this is transformational. And immediately I was on board and became a co-founder of Sixero.
Amazing. So I've heard you speak now several times, and I understand, I think, scratching the surface of what it is, you do. And it's all around quantum computing, right?
So there's a few components, and I'll unpack it a little bit. So we're all talking about the next big thing, which is quantum computing. And the Wall Street Journal has said quantum computing is the new AI, right?
I think it's a little more terrifying.
Yes.
Than
right.
then AI, and that says a lot.
It sure does. And quantum computing, it'll have its upside. It's a new, so the basics. Right now we have computers that run on zeros and ones, 0 1 0 1. And that's the speed up of that 0 1 oscillation has given us the increase in power of computing for the last, let's say, 50 years. Computer chips have gotten super small. Those 0 1 0 1 oscillations gotten really fast. And then we put a lot of these what's called parallelization. We put a lot of these little things together, and that's how we have super powerful computers that are way more than we had 50 years ago. But the essentials of that whole process hasn't changed. I mean, it's all the same thing. We just gotten better at it. In quantum computing, something can be a 0 or a 1, or a 0 and a 1 at the same time, or any combination in between, which means very simply that the power of computing is going to increase by millions. And there's going to be some really good parts of that, like certain problems we haven't been able to crack or haven't been able to crack really quickly, like drug trials or new materials that can work in different situations. We're going to do that. It's going to be a sea change in those solving those kinds of problems. So that's the good side. But the bad side is quantum computers, when they get here, we'll talk about timelines in a minute, but when they get here, they'll be able to crack all current asymmetrical cryptography. Wow, that's a lot of syllables, right? But what does that mean? That means your banking password is going to break. Your login password's going to break. Your phone encryption's going to break. Your car keys is going to break. Your dog's GPS, it's all going to break. And we need solutions that deal with that eventuality. And that is the reason our company was founded, to provide a solution that deals with that reality that in some period of time, encryption's going to break.
So is Sixero intended for the end user like me? My banking password, is it intended for me? Is it a B2B product?
It's a B2B product initially. I do anticipate, sometimes when you're starting something or founding something, you can't always anticipate exactly how it then unfolds in the marketplace.
Sure.
But our current customers B2B. And just to like bring it that what I just talked about was really highfalutin, right? Just to bring it down to the brass tack, we are talking about something that our initial product, which is called Portal 6. By the way, just to unpack the name for a second, take a detour. 6 stands for Secure Information Exchange, right? So when all of this stuff starts to break and people are going to solve it over here, and then there's some evolution over here, you're going to need to be able to exchange information in a way that's secure, regardless of the fact that this guy's late to the party and they haven't fixed the password thing, and this guy's maybe got it, but so this is going to be messy. I call it Y2K, but without a date. So there's going to be a need to exchange information in a secure way when all of the security things that we currently have in place start to break asymmetrically. So what our product looks like is like Dropbox. Like I take a file here and I put a file there. Portal 6, our initial product, is just that. It's out. It's in pilot stage right now. People are interested in piloting it. It's out there for that purpose. And so I talked about this really complicated thing of quantums and zeros and ones and anything in between, material science. But what we're doing is a very simple concept, a tool that allows you to exchange information in a way that is secure. And by the way, that's useful today because I don't know if you want to talk about it, but current data security kind of.
Right. So I was going to say small businesses that hold, critical data, maybe some of them don't hold critical data, but they hold data. Small companies can still engage with your product today, right?
Absolutely.
And that will affect the end user like me.
Absolutely. So you and I have a bunch of people who are friends in accounting and law,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
We were just talking a little while ago, a mutual friend we have who's in a managed service provider, which manages computer systems. So just to talk about that for a second, I think we could all agree that data security is not terrific right now.
Even
right?
the two-factor authentication for all your systems and softwares and things that you use, they're clumsy and they don't always work.
They don't always work. They're the best you can do, by the way.
Right.
Public service announcement. If you're worried about David,
Right
the one thing that you can do is two-factor authentication. An app on your phone that's an authenticator app is better than getting a text. But anyway, two-factor is the best we can do. But we are spending $1 trillion a year on cybersecurity, and it just doesn't work. I mean, and it doesn't work so badly then when you talk to people about it, they're like, I don't know, my data's out there. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's what people are saying. And, it's a problem because privacy is like a human right, right? Like we have the concept of not having people search you and get into your stuff is like baked into the Constitution in the Fourth Amendment. It's not the same thing as data privacy, but the concept that you can't just be invaded willy-nilly is really core, certainly to an American sense of what your rights are. And we've just said, heck with it, But here's the thing. There is a solution. We can do better with data privacy. It goes to there's other tools and concepts involved, like decentralization and advanced key exchange, which our product also includes. But when I say that I can get a file from me to you securely over a post-quantum connection, that means no, it cannot be breached. It cannot be stolen. The encryption is such that it will be superior, and since we have a pilot product, I can put that in the present tense, it is superior to anything else you're doing. So it's reclaiming that right to privacy. And if you get to, let's say the managed service provider that we were just talking about, those kinds of companies, they send like, okay, maybe you're onboarding a customer, offboarding a customer. They're sending all the passwords and all the stuff to all the infrastructure. And it might be a very small, teeny tiny, business with 15 people, but you just sent the keys to their kingdom, to their e-commerce site, to their bank, to their over an insecure connection. People are still doing this in Gmail.
Oh, have you? I recently had a doctor give me a Gmail address to send medical records, and I said, "Are you serious? You don't have a secure way for me to send this to you?" And they said, "Oh, nobody's ever said that before." I'm like, "Well, maybe somebody should have told you that Gmail is not a secure way to send data, to send information, especially medical information." So it's remarkable to me that people still don't understand that there is secure and insecure methods of communication. The smallest little piece, right, of data can cause a tremendous problem when there are breaches. And there isn't any company I know these days, large or small, that hasn't had a breach of some kind, right? So your data's gotten out there, all the more reason to protect in a new level of security if you can, whatever information you're sending, because it will be, there will be a need for a new level of security. I would argue that there's already that need for a new level of security because of all the breached systems from Sony. I mean, your cable company, your doctor's office, how many letters a year do you get? Because they're required to send you a letter that they're
I got them on my desk right now. you know,
so I would argue that the need is now, even if quantum computing, and you said you were going to talk about the date. So let's talk a little bit about a timeline and what that looks like. And then I want to hear about your book because I
absolutely.
could not be more excited for you.
So quantum computers exist. They exist in experimental form right now. MIT has one. Our government likely has one. Rensselaer has one. I'm sure all the governments and they are not commercial or even in research institutions not fully operational yet, but they are getting there. So they are what's called noisy. So they have some instability in them, and they don't use enough. So we talk about bits and bytes in the what's soon to be the legacy world. In quantum computing, you talk about qubits, which are the quantum bits and bytes. So we don't have enough qubits and they're not super stable. But every single day, and if you subscribe to the Sixero newsletter, you'll keep in touch with this at sixero.com. Subscribe to the newsletter, you will see like every day they're making advancements. So what does that mean about timeline? A year ago, the timeline was 2032 to 2035. Now that window has been moved back to as early as 2028
Wow.
to 2035, right? Our government is saying people must be quantum compliant by 2035. But already in global RFPs, like if you have a global company that works, say, with someone in Asia Pacific, take Japan, their date is still 2035 as well. But the companies and the consortia are saying, no, secretly, we want our RFPs by 2030 everybody has to show us a roadmap to be quantum secure. And the secret is nobody actually knows. I mean, if you had a quantum compute, we can track how the advancements are going. The timelines are getting shorter. But if you were, say, a malicious actor, an adversarial government, and you were close to a quantum computer that would crack all security, your adversaries, the plans for their, naval drones, would you tell anyone?
There's another level of that that applies to the community that you and I work in, which are CPAs and attorneys and insurance and regional banks, and a variety of other professional service providers. Think about cybersecurity insurance, right?
Absolutely.
And think about the problem that exists today, which is really identifying what does that policy actually cover and what are the risks. You can almost eliminate that problem,
Yes,
right?
you
By
could.
using a system like yours, which is more secure than anything on the market right now. I have to believe the cybersecurity policy, the insurance side, and you could speak to this maybe, has to be a whole lot easier, and probably risk reduction is huge.
Yes. Yes. So I'm going to take a teeny bit of a detour and then come right back to that because
Sure.
this is a cost saving measure for insurance companies and for the insured.
Absolutely.
So we talked a little bit about quantum computing, which is, let's say, in the future. Secretly, it's sort of now, but let's say it's in the future. Our current problem of data security is rooted in the fact that I guess commercial computers were available since 1951. So let's say for 75 years, we've had the availability of computers. And first we had a computer, and then we had the computer network, which means there's something in the middle and it's talking to things on the perimeter, which in our world we call endpoint. You and I, Lisa, were endpoint. You thought you were a human being, you're actually an endpoint. So you have this central thing and it's talking to all these endpoints. And the art of cybersecurity is I got to protect this central thing. Absolutely, because all data flows in and out. Everything works this way. This Zoom works this way, email works this way, Netflix works this way, everything works this way. So I got to protect that thing, absolutely. Oh, wait, but I have to make it porous so information can flow in and out. And that is the original sin of cybersecurity because you've created a logical absurdity. How are you going to do that? You now have a war of escalation of protecting these holes with the hackers who are trying to get through the holes, and you're trying to protect the holes. So the poor chief information security officers are going, okay, I got the red line, I got the blue line, I got the green line, I still got hacked, then I got the purple line. It's unsustainable. Now with AI, so what do we attack? What do cyber criminals attack? They attack the endpoint, you and me. You get an email and it's a phishing click. And then your cybersecurity team says, don't click on that phishing email. Click, you did it again. Don't click. You just keep. But now AI is going to be, you're not going to get a phishing email. You're going to get a phone call with a voice that sounds like your mother that says, honey, I just sent you an email. Could you please click on it? That's what it's going to be like. So I get really angry at cybersecurity conferences because they're always talking about user training. And I'm sorry, user training is just transferring their job onto you.
Yeah, that's over. Like trying to train even a sophisticated person who is a technology native, right? You talk about technology natives. Our kids grew up with technology. I'm not a native, but I'm a forever learner. But even technology natives who think they know will not be able to discern between
No.
what they think they know and what they think is real to
Yeah.
what's real and what's not. So to your point, right? This takes the guesswork out of it.
Yeah. So the answer is you take that central thing that we were just talking about and you throw it out the window.
Yeah.
And you connect in this kind of web-ish way. Imagine a spider web where everything's connecting to one another. Well, what does that look like? It looks like blockchain. Or to throw out a new term that, people are using at the cocktail parties, Web 3.0. Web 1.0 was click display. Web 2.0 was social networks and APIs and connecting systems on the internet. Web 3.0 is taking that and making it decentralized so the individual has more control over their data. And our product is built on top of blockchain, it's decentralized, and it's post-quantum secure. So to your point about how do we protect data, we do it that way. And we make it so you now have a choice about, and if you are, let's say, if you have a product like ours is in pilot, But let's scroll ahead 6 months or a year. Baked into your organization, you're using it to transfer data. Right now, your cyber insurance company is going to go in and audit your situation and then give you a rate, right? This will decrease your rate.
Well,
And
I can't imagine that they could deny the security of it, right? But not just decrease your rate, but if all your data is protected in this way, there is no more, well, you're protected, you're covered for this or you're covered for that. Like
correct,
it's a big blanket. And I can't speak for
correct.
the insurance companies, but I can't imagine. I think they'd be hard pressed to deny you complete coverage if everything is stored this way, if everything
That is the
protected like
premise.
this.
That, yeah, that's the argument. And the other thing is, if one of the things that is annoying these days about cyber insurance claims being denied is that if the cyber insurance company can prove that there was foolishness, for example, you foolishly clicked on a link, or you clicked on a link and then you didn't get on top of it, they will deny the claim. Well, if you're taking out that phishing component, because we no longer have the central server and the endpoint, then that part doesn't exist anymore, right? You
It,
can, it,
isn't it so interesting that it's becoming more and more sophisticated? Well, foolishness, yes, I clicked on it, but it had the company's logo, had my name, it came from a VP in the company, it was written on our letterhead, it had our extension. What would make me
I
think this
know,
wasn't real? So the foolishness that you talk about isn't foolishness at all. It's a human inability to decipher what is real and what's not and we should not be as either employees of a company or individuals or even, business owners. How are we supposed to be the expert in deciding,
absolutely.
right? So your system, what you're building, have built, is already functional and in use. It seems to be a game changer. I was so excited to have you on to talk to you about this because when I first learned about what you did, my brain was exploding. It was terrifying. But the more I learned about it and the more I understand what you've built, it's no longer terrifying. It's okay, this is another iteration. This is a new level of security. This is a new platform changer, right? This is the next iteration of technology that we're living in. We're the living change. It's a remarkable time, right? Think about what's happened in the last 30 years. It's
For sure.
unbelievable. So, I really want to hear about your book. What prompted you to write it? Why you thought this was the time?
So I was sitting over cocktails with a woman that I think is terrific. Her name is Monica Profit, and she was early into blockchain. So, when you're a pioneer and you're dealing with something new, I was sharing war stories with Monica, and I was telling her I was thinking of writing a book. I've written a couple of tech books, and I was tossing around thoughts about what that. And she said, Anna, for pity's sake, why aren't you writing Quantum Computing 101? And I said, oh, wait, you're right.
That's a good question.
Right. How did I not see that? So immediately, and this was, around Thanksgiving time, immediately I embarked on writing Quantum Computing 101, which is coming out at the end of this month.
Right.
And it's in that Amazon has a category, which I think is super useful, of 90-minute tech read. So nobody be intimidated. You're not going to see a single weird formula with Greek letters in it. You're not gonna, that's not gonna be it, or a graph.
So
It is
it's written for me. It's written for
absolutely.
great.
In fact, it is a non-technical book. It is written for business owners. You know that way where it's happened over the years where you go into cocktail parties or meetings or whatever, and somebody brings up something like, I don't know, Web 3.0. And secretly in the back of your mind, you're going, I don't have any idea what that is, and I have to write it down and Google it, right? And it could be everything. It could be like mobile apps in the day it was broadband, or, all of these AI, agentic AI. Somebody says that in the meeting, you look very, very sophisticated. You're like, I secretly have no idea what you're talking about, but I'm going to act like I do. Well, quantum computing is
That's
now in
awesome.
that category where somebody brings it up and you're like, absolutely. And you're like, I don't have any idea. So this
I have
book
to
is
call
very,
Anna. Anna, what does
right,
this mean?
right. This book is for those business people, sophisticated business people who know they need to know the basics of quantum computing. How does it differ from traditional computing? When is it going to come? What does it mean for security? What is quantum cryptography? How's that going to arrive? What am I to do in the meantime? If I'm a small, medium-sized, or large corporation, how do I talk to my chief information security officer, chief whatever officer? What should our plan be? How to plan? What are the opportunities in quantum computing? And what does this all mean for our lives? When is Q Day coming? So did that. It's coming out at the end of March, and everybody is. I already have people. I keep saying it's going to be on pre-order. Like people are like, "Where's the link? I can't order it." I'm like, "It's not out yet." So
Well,
that is
when
the
it's
book.
out, you're going to let us know so that I can share it with everybody.
Absolutely.
But I also know that you got a key endorsement
Yes.
this week.
So folks may know if you're in the business news or futurist news, a fellow by the name of Rashad Tabakawala. He has a really popular podcast called What's Next. He has a Substack newsletter called The Future of Work. So he for many years he also has a book called Rethinking Work. So all of these topics around the future, technology, how it affects all of our lives. And for years, he was the chief strategy officer at Publicis, obviously global title. And Rashad just wrote a terrific endorsement of Quantum Computing 101, saying this is the book to read. It's really maybe, you never know what other people are doing, but it may be the first of its kind. It may be the first business level guide to quantum computing. And Rashad was gracious enough to offer an endorsement of Quantum Computing 101. So
Well, he would know, right?
he would know. That's the
Would
point.
know. This is such a great chat. I really enjoy speaking to you, and I learn something in every conversation. So thank you for taking the time to share with everybody what you do. We're going to put in the post all of the information of everything you just shared to make sure people know how to find you. But when the book is not enough, can people reach out to you? Will you consult? Will you help them figure out what comes next and what they need for their business?
Absolutely. And I think maybe down there, and you'll put it, and then you can see my domain name, Sixero. The E is a three. The three is a backwards E, or however you would say that. And I'm just Anna@Sixero.com. So you can reach right out to me.
Amazing. So good to see you. Thank you.
You too, Lisa. Thank you.